This is day 5 from Unit 5. We started today with a warm-up, so you can pause your video, try the warm-up, and then play to check your answers. So we started with graphing. So I know that this cubic has been shifted 3 to the right and up 1. So my point of inflection is 3, 1. And then I just need 2 other points. So I'm going to just do a table here with 4 and 2. So 4 minus 3 is 1, cubed is 1, times 2 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. And then substituting in 2 minus 3 is negative 1, cubed is negative 1, times 2 is negative 2, negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So I have my 3 points. That's my point of inflection. That's my graph. Next one, sketching. So this is what we did yesterday. So I know that I have a root at 4 and at negative 2. And I see the degree here is 3. 3 is odd. Odd means opposite end behavior. This is positive, so it has to be up on the right, which means it's down on the left. So I'm going to make my end behavior down and up. And then I'm going to make sure that at 4, I make it bounce because it's a double, and through at negative 2. So through at negative 2, and then bouncing at positive 4. And that's my polynomial. Tomorrow you have a quiz, so here are the topics you should study. So the first 2 are what we just did in the warm-up, and then the rest are from earlier in the unit or in previous units. These are the previous units, and these were earlier in the unit. Also, you missed a ticket in the door quiz today, so you'll need to make that up if you were not in class. Okay, so here's today's lesson. This will not be on tomorrow's quiz. We started with these 3 examples, so you want to get those copied into your notes. So the first one, I am supposed to write a possible equation. So if you think about this, this is the opposite of what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we started with an equation and we graphed that equation. Today, we're starting with a graph and we're going to come up with the possible equation. So I'm going to start with y equals, and I'm just going to go one root at a time. So at negative 3, I have a root. So that means the corresponding factor would be x plus 3. And I'm going to make that to the first power because I see it's going through. Then the next root is at 0, so x or x minus 0. Again, through, so to the first power. Last, that's positive 2, which means x minus 2, and again to the first power. That is the possible equation. And the other thing you want to check is the end behavior. It's pointing up on the right, so I don't need to add a negative this time, but if it was pointing down on the right, I would add a negative in the front. So B and C, you should probably pause the video and try them on your own, and then play to check your answers. So I'm going to go ahead with the equation. So I'm going to put a negative in the front because I see it's pointing down on the right. I see negative 2, so x plus 2. That's bouncing, so squared. And then I see it positive 1, so x minus 1, and that's through. And that is my possible equation. Last one. So I see negative 3, so x plus 3. And again, I'm noticing it's pointing down, so I'll put a negative in the front. I see 0 at 0, 0, but I see that's a point of inflection, so that's x cubed. And then I see at positive 2, so x minus 2, and that's through, so that's to the first. You can either leave it in that order, or if you want to bring that x cubed in the front, you can. And that's my possible equation. Okay, So this one we're supposed to write the exact equation. So hopefully you realize the difference here. Exact means we're going to solve for that a value in the front. We're going to figure out whether the polynomial has been vertically stretched or compressed. And we're able to do that because notice we were given a point this time. So we'll be able to solve for the a, just like we did in the quadratic unit. So it's the same as the last several examples, except for I am going to put an a in the front, and I'm going to solve for that a. So one at a time, we're at -3, so x plus 3. That's through, so to the first. -1, so x plus 1. That's through, so to the first. And then this is at +2, so x minus 2. That's bouncing, so that's squared. So I'm going to substitute in my coordinate point. 16 in for y. I don't know a. 1 is x. And we're going to simplify that and solve for a. So 3 plus 1 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 minus 2 is -1, and that's quantity squared. So I have -1 squared gives me 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 8a. Dividing by 8, we're getting a is 2. Now remember, once you have 2, just like we did in the quadratic unit, you have to substitute that back in. So 2 is in the front, x plus 3 the quantity x plus 1, and the quantity x minus 2 squared, and that is my equation. Now it didn't say it had to be in standard form, so notice I'm just leaving it in factored form. That's fine. 2 more. So same thing, we're going to write the exact equation. So again, I'll start with the a. You probably want to try these on your own first. So let's see, -2, so x plus 2, that's squared. And then +2, so x minus 2. And then we're ready to solve for a. So 6 goes in for y. -1 goes in for x. So -1 plus 2 is 1. And -1 minus 2 is -3. So we have 1 squared, which is 1, times -3, so that's -3a. And a is equal to -2. So my equation, -2 x plus 2, the quantity squared, times x minus 2. And that is my exact equation. So that was letter A. B. So started off the same way. We have -2, so that's x plus 2 squared because it bounces. This is +1, so x minus 1 squared because it bounces. And then y-intercept of -3, that means 0, -3 is the coordinate point. So -3, 0 is going in for x. So we have -3 equals a. 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 minus 1 is -1. 2 squared is 4 times, let's like just a 1, so 4a equals -3. And a is -3/4. So my equation, -3/4 times x plus 2, the quantity squared, times x minus 1, the quantity squared. Y equals in the front of that. And that's my exact equation. Okay. So that takes care of today's lesson. Your assignment for tomorrow is you're going to do page 12. And then you're going to work on worksheet number 3, problems 1 through 6. Study for your quiz tomorrow. Don't forget Angel Tree coming up on Thursday, so we'll be wrapping for that.